All right, let's rock and roll tonight. We are definitely live tonight. If you hadn't followed us already on DCI Education Group on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. This is where you're one place where you can go and get all of your continuing education, replays of all of our virtual training, most of all of our virtual training classes, over 100 training classes on our YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, and it's DCI Education Group. And so super excited to be in week 2 of our orientation. We're going to touch bases on professional image tonight and also on the intro to lashes. So super excited about what we have going on. And since it's just us two, we'll get in depth to the lash component. Okay, so super excited about that. Let's look at professional image. Okay, we're going to use the chat box a lot too. When you think about professional image, not only are we going to prepare you to take the test, the exam, we're also going to prepare you to work in the real world, how to be your beginner to beauty business, okay? So not only beauty business, we also need to prepare you to be prepared for presentation. Many individuals do have professional jobs, professional careers. Maybe this is second go around or third go around when it comes to continuing education, but there's always something to learn in this factor. We're going to identify some things, and 3 things I want to touch on tonight, and I will put it in the chat. 3 things I want to touch on tonight. It's going to be our personal hygiene. It's going to be our personal hygiene. It's also going to be being true to self. And professional image. Even if you're on our YouTube today, we live streamed this particular chapter as well throughout the day. There's a lot of notes. And so for most of you individuals that may be checking out our live stream, yes, this is 2 parts. Same thing on orientation for day and night shift. And let's dive into these 3 components we want to look at when it comes to professional image. It is personal hygiene, being true to yourself, and professional image. Professional image itself, of course, we may look at it as first impressions, okay? But your professional image is not always how you look, it's how you act, it's how you sound, okay? All of those components come together to offer a service. You know, we couple them with the techniques. And let me be very, very clear. Although it's going to be really fun and games, really exciting to learn new things, remember, whatever occupation you signed up for, whether it's lashes, manicuring, hair, or nails, many individuals, people do not need that for like they need air to breathe. They don't need that like they need water to breathe. They don't need that like they need food and shelter, okay? Those are the necessities. So anything on top of, if they're coming to a luxury service, and I call everything in beauty a luxury service because people don't have to patronize you. And so anything on top of that is considered a luxury service in beauty. Okay. And if we're offering luxury service in beauty, we should also serve up this level of professionalism. We should serve up this level of professional image. We should serve up this level of just being totally honest with ourselves and our clients. Okay. When it comes to money, when it comes to charging appointments, things of that nature, being true to self, being totally honest and educating your clients as you go. You want to be able to build a rapport, and this is the beginning of building a rapport is our professional development, okay? And so even with this chapter and then the communication chapter as well, it is the professional development, all right? So we want to always look at our image as being one of the core factors of what gets a client to come to us and how do we maintain that client. And that's based on how we treat that client. Customers could come for one time. Clients is what we build our lives off of. Customers come for one time. All right, they're a customer. It came, I made some money. I don't know if they'll come back. But clients are people who repeatedly get the service you offer. They freely give you the money for the service you offer, you give them. Okay. Those are clients. It has to be something that makes the client come back. And so, what we need to do going forward, yes, our professional image, it's one of those things, it grabs them. People are gravitated to how we look first. And then what keeps them is our attitude, our behaviors, our personalities, just being true to you. Okay. Our characteristics as far as being honest, standing on integrity, telling them what looks good, what doesn't look good. This is what I suggest. Giving them your resume, giving them your background, showing them that you are the expert. What you went to school for, you deserve to be in this position. You deserve to charge what you charge. And so all of that falls into just your professional image and your professional development. You will see that throughout your whole course here. And even when you're done, you're going to continue to be teachable. You should be continue to be teachable and build on that professional image, that professional development. And also we look at personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is a part of professional development. It is a part of your image, because if they smell you before they see you, that can be a problem. It is a problem, okay, in some countries. So there's a slide that talks about perfume and scent and things of that nature. But when you look at personal hygiene, do I smell good? Do I look good? When people smell good, they look good, they feel good, they do good work. All right. It's a fact being shown that when you look good, you feel good, you do great work. And so that's what I want the students to pick up. That has never changed from generation to generation. You can do great work. And it's not about who does something the best. It is simply how, in 2025, how do you make this person feel? A person needs to understand and feel and have an experience. So it's not about who does the best lashes or who does the best manicure, who does the best hairstyle or the best facial or the best wax. It is about how did you make your client feel when they came into your presence. That's the person that's going to transfer their experience to the next referral. And boom, here you go. There's growth. There's growth. And so it's not about who's the best, but how do you make people feel? All right. And it's proven fact, statistics. People want to feel wanted. They want to feel appreciated. So guess what we start to say? Niceties. Thank you, ma'am. Or we can't just assume people have home training. This is part of our professional development. So we got to figure out those niceties, because people don't have to do what they do. All right. So that's our slight introduction, and we're going to go deeper into those. I want you to feel free to chime in. We're going to jump on in the chat right now. It's just you and I, Miss Shields, and I'm excited about it. Okay. This is why study professional image. Here's the top 3 things. Client expectations. Our clients are expecting us to show out. They're expecting us to make them feel amazing. Whatever you're posting, people are booking because they want to feel the same way. So if you did all of that to get them, you got to pull it through. And if it wasn't genuine, you're going to have a problem, because they came for the experience, and that experience went on too good. So you got to make sure that experience, if that's it becomes part of your brand, who you are, that you make them feel a certain way. You'll find people coming just to lay on your bed and say, just do what you got to do. I just wanted to have a moment. Okay. And so that becomes priceless. So client expectations, you want to meet the client's expectation. I really want to say you want to exceed the client's expectations. Client confidence. You want them to be confident that you're the person for the job. And also if they came in a certain way by you making them look good, they feel good. And guess what? Their confidence is on an all-time high. And how does that simply look, Miss Cox? It looks like somebody has went through hell at work, and they come into your place, your establishment. They're relaxed. They're calmed. They're not thinking about work. You put them into a place, and then just by you performing that service on them, whatever your specialty is, it brightens them. It gives them more life. It gives them another day that they can make it. And so I'm not going deep, but I'm really passionate about building relationship, rapport with our clients. And it starts with professionalism, whether it's the image, the hygiene, or the development of behaviors and attitude. It all goes together. Well, I would say I'm trying to prepare my students, not only for licensure, but licensure for years, longevity in the industry. Okay. And let me just say, my stuff just blinked, so please don't get cut off. Um, so that's the goal, is how do we take what we have and build it for growth? Understand, and then there's human interactions. I told them today, I do have a friend at the pandemic, she got so used to being inside, she don't want to come out. She don't want to come out. And so I am such a fan of open space salons. I wanted to go back to open space salons, but I do know that some people like less human interactions and they prefer suites. Whatever works well for that particular person, they have to have their own safe space. Okay. But human interactions are going to be very important because people have to trust and believe in you to give you money. And money is going to make the world go round. That's how you're going to pay your bills. And so you're going to be the top of your industry, perform a service in exchange for currency. That currency builds your life. Okay. So we got to have some form of human interactions. Today, I jumped back on learning about AI. And I started a year ago learning about AI, and I jumped back on today. I signed up for everything free I could find. Okay, because I want to just see. And then I move into one particular course. I have two particular courses I do want to pay for. But at the end of the day, I am working because I have to make sure I fill the void of human interactions. So whereas some people are still not coming out, I believe that when I speak with a person, when I talk to a person, when I'm able to be face to face or voice to voice with a person, we communicate much better. So yes, I want to work on continued human interactions. How well do we interact with people? And if we're not around people, we don't know how well we interact with people. And so we always have to work on our niceties. And I told my students today, we're going to work on how you introduce yourself. We're going to work on how you close a conversation. How do you answer the phone? All of these are soft skills that build up for what you're really going to be doing is selling your services to your clients. Okay. So understanding what behaviors are appropriate in the workplace is vital to success. And so I talked about a word today called TACT, TACT. Okay. And educators don't know everything. But what we should know is the right time and place to say what needs to be said. We don't need to be tacky in it. Okay. And so I was telling the students today, I said, we're going to come in contact with people. And when you come in contact with people, you need to be able to read a room. Okay. You need to be able to think about what you say and not go in and be totally, offensive. Okay, because remember, you work in a currency in exchange for service industry. And because you work in a currency in exchange for service industry, the attitudes, the different things could cause a person not want to come and service you. And that could really damage your bottom line. So we have to make sure that our professional development is always in play because each client deserves what we call respect. And if you deserve respect also, and once you guys establish that and say, hey, I want to meet your expectations, these are my expectations, and everybody agree, we can have a wonderful relationship. Let's look at professional image. Is defined the impression you project through your outward appearance and your conduct in the workplace. So we had a conversation about this, and in our policy, when you're in the building, I told the students, I said, look, you're not going to be able to wear bonnets. I don't have nothing against bonnets. You're not going to be able to wear hats. You're not going to be able to wear scarves, because when we service clients, it is what we call on stage and backstage. Backstage is when you are preparing for the client and the client is not there. That's a preparation. That means you're in the bathroom, you're getting it together, or whatever you're doing, you're getting it together. You are not out in the open getting it together. Okay. You should not be combing your hair when you get to school. Before you left the house, it should have been the point of you combing your hair. But I do understand, with all of the years that I've been teaching, there have been instances where students did not have water, did not have an opportunity to comb their hair, did not have access to a bathroom. So what we have in our bathroom is like a little cubby shelf, like a little roller tool that has intimate wipes, pads, it has soap, it has it has hand soap, it has deodorant, air freshener. And so I looked at it yesterday. I have two types of deodorants in there, but I need to get some mouthwash and some flossers. Okay, so I want to make sure everybody has everything they need. And if you don't, you can go into the bathroom and take care of yourself before you come out and service clients. That's part of that personal hygiene, being a part of your overall professional development. And so we just want to have that open, because we know we deal with a lot of clients. Okay, so that's part of that professional image as well. When I worked at Battle Rock Career College as a director, it was certain students that did not have washers and dryers. And to assist them, we would have them come in early if they needed to use the washer and dryer to wash their uniforms, or stay over to wash their uniforms. That's what we did to help our students. It was not, when you see somebody struggling, you always try to find a solution. And how can I help? How can we ease this burden? And that's one thing that we did with that. And that played into building a rapport with the student. So, and it gave a great impression. And some of those students that had to use, the educators shut their mouth. They were not talking about what they did or what they allowed, because we didn't want the students to feel any kind of way. And so sometimes you got to bend, but sometimes you got to be there. You got to be realistic, and you got to help some people. And so to help them in their professional image, so their personal hygiene and their attire all matched, we needed to make sure those clothing items got clean. Okay, so if you could take something off somebody's plate who having not so good time, not so good season, it means everything. Did those students stay in school? They did. They did. One thing left off their plates, and it wasn't an all the time thing, but they knew if they didn't have money to wash uniforms that week, or they could come in early, or they could say something, text one of the teachers, and come in later after the day shift was already gone. So it was one of those type of things where we really did want the student to win, and any solution that kept us in a professional setting, we did not mind mentioning that. Looking at personal hygiene, daily bath, hair maintenance, skincare regimen, oral hygiene, food and drink, deodorant, hand washing, avoiding heavy fragrances. As we talk about this, all of this is in preparation. You go into the main stage. Avoiding heavy fragrances. 2021, latter 2021, I fell in love again with fragrances. And right now, I don't like matured fragrances, you know. I like cool breeze fragrances that are more flowery to carry a light note. That's what I fall in love with. Okay, so I have to remember, no, although I love fragrances, no heavy fragrances because our clients could have allergic reactions. They could sneeze, they could do a lot of sneezing. And if it was me, honestly, scent does this to me. I would say I can't finish my service because the smell irritates me. I would smell it all up in my nose. And so we don't want to lose any money anywhere, no time soon. All right. And so with us making sure that we don't have heavy jewelry and we don't have heavy fragrances on as well. And we're following all of the personal hygiene. So that means daily bath. And you may run into foreigners that are not used to daily bathing. Okay. But most United States US Americans, they are used to bathing at least 1 to 2 a day. Okay. And you have individuals who probably in 2025 don't have access to water. And so it's good to have a conversation about the hygiene, personal hair maintenance, skincare. If you are a hairdresser, I'm expecting your hair to look neat. I'm not expecting it to be done to the nines, but I'm expecting it to be neat without a scarf on. And if you're a skincare professional, I'm expecting you to be treating your skin. Okay, I'm expecting you to be treating your skin. If you are a lash tech, I'm expecting you to have something really cute about your brows or about your lashes. Okay. And so show me what you're doing and where you're going to school for. Something should show, and it should be very neat and should be very professional. So our oral hygiene, because we deal and talk with people every day, that's something we always should keep up. And I see more and more people taking emphasis on oral hygiene these days. Food and drink. We've always referenced you are what you eat. Okay. And if you eat right and take care of your body, now, okay? In whatever younger age, or whatever age you decide that you wake up, take care of your body now so you can have longevity in your career, okay? Let's do that now, from exercising to watching what we eat, watching what we drink. And I just restarted a journey that I got off of 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and I absolutely love it. Making sure we have deodorant. In your course, you will learn some waxing. And in that course, just a tip, I will always say, we never follow underarm waxing with deodorant. Okay. So it's good to have an alternative in your suite or in your salon or spa that you can use, whether that's padding with baking soda or we're just not going to add like silver oxides to the skin because we don't want to clog the pores, cause boils, pustules, or anything of that nature. Okay. Hand washing, want to make sure we clean. Sanitation is always our number one priority. And we're going to practice good personal habits. If you did it already, it's totally easy. It's easy, it's easy. Okay. Appearances count. So we're going to create balance with diet, exercise, rest, and relation. Avoid smoking, drinking, and drugs. Let me tell you now, I've been every now and then in the last week wearing my watch. Okay. And when I tell you I've been wearing my watch, the number one thing I use my watch for is counting my steps, my workouts, and also I've been putting it on sleep. So it's been telling me how much real sleep I'm getting. And it's averaging about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Yo, I need more. I need totally more. And that's telling me, Destiny, fine, take your tail to sleep. Okay. Go to sleep earlier. You got to figure out a way to get some additional rest. Okay. Good health affects your energy, your attitude, and your appearance. So the better you take care of your body, the longer that you're going to be around. Okay. We're going to do 2 more minutes of this particular orientation, and then I'm going to move you right into intro to lashes. So I'm super excited about that. Look at our physical presentation are made up of posture, our walk, and our movements. So a lot of times you find we wear body supports to help us sit up, to help our movements. When you are going to be a lash artist or you're any kind of beauty professional, it may take you moving your body, adjusting your body, but making sure your equipment is what we call ergonomically safe. All right. That means making sure that equipment is comfortable enough for you. Okay. And we have equipment and supplies from hairdressers have shears to we have stools and everything that we sit on just to make sure that in order for us to do the job, we're in a comfortable position. All right. And we're in a comfortable position. So good posture fights fatigue and other physical problems. So just make sure we're in the best posture as possible. Look at good manners. And this is where we have to take a pause because good manners doesn't mean everybody got them. And we often call them home training. But good manners could also be the building of soft skills, the excuse me's, the hellos. And I tell anybody, when you walk into a room, what do you say? It's hello. Okay? When you walk in a room, it's hello. When you meet a client at the door, it's hello. How are you? That's why we need to practice our greetings. That's why we need to practice how are we going to treat the client at the end of the service. Do we just say, come on, just pay me? No. Do you say, come on, we can lay down? No. We need to practice, and you're going to get plenty of consultation time. But we do need to practice how we introduce ourselves, how we close the deal, which means how we close out the service, shaking a client's hand. And the service is not closed until they walk to the door. Okay? If you do not walk your clients to the door, you could be liable if they fall and stump at the door. Because if they were inside the facility, that's insurance on you. If they were outside the facility, it's you and the landlord. All right. And so I want to make sure the client gets out safely because we are working with time and money. All of your time is significant. And if you're not considerate of your time and you let your client just even after the service just hang around, they're interrupting somebody else's intimate time. That could possibly be the number one changing factor from them considering you for their stylist. You would not be their lash stylist because you entertain people. So other people during the time that you're supposed to just be focused on me. And that's out there. So we're going to make sure we are relevant to our time and that we close out our services and we are working on our mannerisms, our niceties, okay? If you say your face says it all, you need to wear a mask. Because remember, you perform a service that they don't need to live. And so it's good to have a humbling factor. And what I have always seen, whoever you are, you attract the same characteristics of clients. So if you cuss a lot, all your clients can cuss a lot. You're going to keep getting put out of places because you can't control your clients. If you drink a lot, you're going to get a lot of people who like to drink as your clients. You possibly cannot control those situations. Same thing with smoking. I've seen it all. But if you want to have a different clientele, I told them earlier, you're going to have to go into places where your clients are. If you are a lash artist, to me, clients who have lashes and eyebrows, all of them are my clients, potentially my clients. If I'm going to focus on women, where do women shop who like their eyebrows done, and who like lashes? They shop at department stores, they're at the libraries, they're at restaurants, they're at grocery stores, they're at malls. They're at other nail shops and spas, okay? So guess what? All of those places become places that I can build clientele. Here's a nugget too. Join a few professional organizations. For me, Black Chamber of Memphis. For me, the Chamber of Commerce. For me, I'm not a lawyer, but I do network with the Bar Association. Okay. You never know when you need an attorney, and then you can network. They may need somebody, you may need somebody. I also network with some city officials and things of that nature. So you have to go where you want your future to be. And so you may say, I want people that gotta have their image on point to be my clients. That means those people are gonna consistently pay for their image to stay a certain way. And so you would say, where are these people? Most of them may be teachers. They may work at the courthouse. Okay, may have a whole lot of other things going on. You would need to strategically say, this is what I want, and go get those clients. The time is up where they would come straight to you because you're the hottest name. You have to go get them and let them know I'm the hottest thing. Okay. One more minute remaining. Ask yourself these questions. Am I warm and friendly? We got to check ourselves sometimes. Do I maintain appropriate boundaries? Do I maintain client confidentiality? Can they trust me? And when I say do I maintain appropriate boundaries, y'all, I'm a hugger. But I found one time I hugged somebody I thought I was really cool with. It was so cold. So I stopped hugging people because I don't want to feel that way like I'm intruding. I just wish the person would have told me we were cool no more before I went in for the hug. But so now, of course, if I meet someone and they come in for the hug, I'm like, I thought you'd never ask. So yes, if they come in for the hug first, that's me making sure their boundaries are good, and I'm totally okay for a hug. Okay. And that is certain individuals. Okay. Not a lot of hugs for me, but um, um, yes, definitely. Someone who naturally is harmless, and they usually greet with hey and hugs. I'm all for it. All right. Do I maintain client confidentiality? Clients want to know they can trust you. That's part of building a rapport. Can they trust you? And then look at this. Clients let you into the most intimate spaces. You know what's going on with them before anybody else. So they want to trust you. Okay. And then do I keep my ego in check? You may be the best, you may be the bomb, but there's a H word called humbling. Okay. Humbling spirit. Okay. And if you can stay in a humble place, you'll go very, very far. All right. Because you don't want to get to your ego being so big that it's offensive. Okay. But no one's telling you not to be confident, but there's a thin line there. Okay. Ask yourself these questions and really consider your professional conduct. If there's honestly places that you're saying, hey, I should work on, let's do it. Okay. I'm going to stop share, and I'm going to take 2 minutes to move into our lash course. I think it's time for us to we can definitely move into our chapter 1 of our lashes. I'm excited about that. All right. I want to make sure we got our sound optimized. There we go. Hi. Yes. No. No, no, no. No. All right. So we are intro to lash extension history and careers. We're going to consider this our first chapter, and you actually have about 8 chapters. Okay. So we'll be working through our orientation. We're working through our orientation, and at the same time, we'll be full speed ahead on our lash course. All right. So these are our objectives. These are some of the things we want to make sure that we go over by the end of this chapter. Explain why it's critical for eyelash technicians to understand the eyelash industry and its history. You're going to identify important historical moments in the use of eyelash enhancements and artificial lashes. You're going to outline the scope of practice for an eyelash technician and summarize the current and future state of the eyelash industry. So super, super amazing. That's what we're going to do. Some areas you'll see that's highlighted, now also highlight. When you get ready to go in for your ebook reading, you will see also those areas that are pre-highlighted for you as well. All right. So an eyelash technician, let me just go with the a little history. For Tennessee, it's right at about a year and 1 month old. We just hit about a year and 1 month for this particular license. And it's amazing that we will have this license because individuals who desire to really focus on eyelashes don't no longer have to be a part of a cosmetology program. You no longer have to be a part of an aesthetics program. So it's super, super great. Some state law I do want you to reference. We will pick up on state law. It is a 300 clock hour course. It's a 300 clock hour course, okay? And one thing about this course, I need you to study your terms. Every chapter we go to, I need you to study your terms. I am going to state board, I'm going coming to Nashville on the 8th of September. And I'll reach out to you while I'm there. Maybe I can bring your study guide binder. How about that?
Okay, yeah, that'll work. I'll be
Bring
here. Yeah,
that cool?
yeah, that is. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So I'll be up there that weekend. I know I have that state board training on that Monday, and I'm leaving late Tuesday. So yeah, whenever you got free time, let's get together for a moment, have some coffee or some mocha or something. We get to meet each other, and at the same time, make sure you have what you need to succeed. Okay, and I bring that with me.
Okay.
Awesome, isn't that cool?
It is.
So awesome. You wouldn't even have to come down here first, okay? But I want you to know, so it's a very intimate course, even though it's accelerated. There's only 8 chapters, but we want to make sure we prepare you and give you everything. So we give you about 3 months to get it done. Then you have bonus time as well. You have about an extra 2 months to come back, jump in the classroom. So anything you miss, just know you're gonna get it again. Okay. And then we have those videos on YouTube that help follow up. So, and anything you're missing, I don't mind sending it to you. So, we're going to make sure you're taken care of and you're going to have full access to all of the materials. Okay. Because we want to get you over to the crossing. And I have a student that just passed her eyelash exam too. And I want to say she in Nashville. Y'all might have to link up for study buddies or something. Um,
Hmm.
but she just passed, and I think she's back and forth between Memphis, but she's in Nashville. And when I go to this training on September 8th, any changes, I'm gonna be a real student, like a real student. Any changes that they've made, I'm recording, I'm documenting, and I'm gonna take that information once I receive it and break it down, I'm gonna shoot it right out to my students because I like to put the information right into play just in case, because your course is only like 3.5 months, 3 months, the most, the minimum. And so you may say, soon as I'm finished, I want to test. I want to make sure we're implementing those changes as we're going through your course. So it's not brand new at the end, okay? So that is our major thing. But understanding our scope of practice. Tennessee is not like other states. They really copied and pasted this last degree, this last licensure from Texas. Texas still has a lot of availability as far as what they're able to do. Tennessee, we still have a few restrictions. Milady has adapted to the new laws and created this SEMA program that we're using now. Okay. Milady has adapted to this program where we are right now. And based on where we are now, you have there about 8 chapters. About a good 5 of them are for lash extensions, and the rest of them are brow tinting. The rest of them are from brow tinting to lash lift, okay, to also brow lamination. So some really good fun stuff, and then also business. And so it should be an easy read. You have access to all videos, everything, okay? And so we're just looking at understanding that right now your scope of practice will have an influence of brows, but it's always good to have continuing education into many other areas. And whatever your textbook allows, that's what I would need you to make sure you go in and you start to study, okay? Let's look at a little history. Hey, Andrea, welcome to the Zoom tonight. How are you?
Good. What about you?
Good, good. We just finished one part, professional image, and now we're going into intro for, we have a lash student on, so she's getting her first glimpse of lashing. When I'm done with her in about a few minutes, I'm gonna go over to your first chapter of nails, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. And I also, ladies, I will also send you that chapter 2 orientation. So it's also been recorded, Andrea, okay? So you can go on our YouTube and pull it up and see everything that you were not able to listen to earlier, okay?
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right. So when you look at the early beginnings, whether it's nails or whether it's lashing, I mean, they used what they had. They made it happen with what they had, okay? And it said, this is a bust of Nefertiti with coal-lined eyes. Think about charcoal, okay? Think about it was so dark. The coal helped accentuated the brows, and it also acted as an eyeliner, okay? It was mixed with animal fat. It was mixed with black mineral, galenia, sulfur, okay? And they would heavily line the eyes. And this would give us a little bit of what we see today, like a cat look, okay? And so it would give us something of that nature. And so they were very, very particular. They also would mix this and make ointments. They would also use it as mascara or even a paste. Okay, so they would use this as a darkened paste, but definitely it would be used in the makeup component. Okay, this would be the coal, the tube and the stick, where they would just punch and beat it down, add that animal fat to it, and make it almost into like a grease component. Okay. We're highlighted areas. Ancient Romans believed that women lashes should be long and thick. Okay. They wanted lashes long and thick. So before even Maybelline came around, they were already accentuating their eyelashes. So other materials used to darken and lengthen eyelashes included burnt cork, soot, and adamant. Soot could be think of as ashes. Okay. And you see the accentuation in some earlier portraits. It says during the Middle Ages, women would take steps to emphasize their foreheads. What do you guys think they used to do? If you're emphasizing the forehead, you're making it a point of attraction. What do you think they used to do? Y'all, they used to shave the hairline. This is why, bless you, in early times when of movies and things like that, you ever see somebody with a frontal? Frontal came from movie sets, okay? And originally, when someone wore frontals, they were only for TV. But in order to really wear frontals, they would shave their hairlines back to emphasize the forehead, and that was a signature of beauty. Okay, think about now, the bigger the forehead they had. Okay, it said women will use soup and crushed berries to darken their eyelashes. So again, you're looking at ashes and berries, and they will use that to darken the eyelashes. Cosmetics became popular in the Victorian age. Many women use homemade products such as soup and tar to enhance their features. Now, let me tell you, anything that has tar base has a smell to it. And then you have ashes. So ashes and tar put together, it's probably smell like they were burning. Okay, probably smell like they were burning. And this perfumer made what they would use it as mascara. Hold on one moment. All right, so thank you guys for giving a moment. So the perfumer was the one that developed the first mascara from this, but you got to really think how bad that smelled, and you're a perfume. Okay. These were reports of women having hair sewn onto their eyelids in Paris. And so here's the thing, they wanted to have eyelashes so bad, men and women actually, would sew hair onto their eyelids. Okay. Can you think now how big you see people lashes are and what the crave is and the easy access of it? They don't even have to do the sewing. You just put a little glue on there, and some of it you just stick on there yourself. And so it's good to know where you're going, and also have a very kind idea of where you come from, especially if you're going to grow and develop the next generation of products. And of course, as you move into the 20th century, these are the 1900s, you're looking at the explosion of inventions and developments in beauty. And let me just tell both of you guys something. Americans did not cultivate beauty. We got that from the French. Everything beauty-wise, they brought that over. We got from them. Okay. And so a lot of people say American inventor, American inventor. 9 times out of 10, it was somebody in France, Europe that invented it first. Okay. From lipstick to wigs to eyelashes to Maybelline, a lot of it came from overseas and was introduced here. Okay. This is why they have a very tight knit beauty market in other continents. And they have a rich, rich history and culture when it comes to cosmetics. All right. So we want to also highlight 1902, Carson Nestler patents the method of manufacturing eyebrows and eyelashes in human hair attached to isinglass, okay, made from fish skin bladders. Can you imagine going fishing and pulling the skin of that bladder out and then sewing hairs onto it. And then that's what people will put on their eyelids. He also would put hair glued to gauze as well, glued to silk. Okay. And then you had in 1911, Ann Taylor, a Canadian inventor, patents artificial eyelashes in the United States. All right. And so we got 9 years later, we got an invention in the United States. Okay. 1916, we see dramatic eyelashes come about from a wig maker. So wig making has already had its stance. 1917, T.L. Williams develops and produces what later becomes known as the first modern day mascara. And you know what they did? Coal and petroleum jelly. That was your first mascara. You can make that still today. That's activated charcoal with petroleum jelly, and boom, you got mascara. Okay. Invents the first, William McDowell invents the first eyelash curler. That's 1931. 1950s, artificial lashes are made with thin plastic as opposed to human hair and fabric. All right. 1958, Revlon launches the first tube mascara. So it's good to know your history and where you're at and where you're going. Okay. Here's our early eyelashes as well. When we look at modern eyelash extensions, you guys can go to the chat. What are some of the popular trends for eyelashes? Go to the chat for me. Just chat, put in what are some of the popular eyelash types. Is it hybrid? Is it strips? Is it clusters? Is it individuals? Is it, tell me what it is from what you already know. Is it classics? Okay. Hybrid, volume, clusters. Ooh, all of that give excitement and drama. All of it. I love all of it. Okay. What comes in 1980 and later, up until now, is you have the adhesives. Now, there's going to be a chapter, Deanna, on adhesives. I'm going to ask that you really, really learn that, because the adhesives that you use are really going to determine value of services. And based on what one can receive, that's going to determine whether they can get a service, how long that service will last, so on and so on. So for individuals who cannot take a smell, flutters with their eye, they may need to get an adhesive that does not have a key ingredient, okay, for adhesion. For individuals who need products like that, they will not have good retention on their eyelashes. But individuals that can take an aggressive adhesion ingredient, their eyelashes will last longer. So sometimes clients want the impossible, but they're not able to get them because they're not able to, for some reason, able to handle the active ingredient in the adhesives. And we'll learn about that. That's going to be the key thing. If you educate your clients on adhesives, you may have 2 or 3 different ones. You're able to put your clients in 2 or 3 different categories, okay? And have, these are if you're in this category, these are the lash suggestions I have for you. This is when you should return. This is how often, basically, you get them done, get refills, so on and so on. Have that broken down for each client. We got about 2 minutes. When we look at scope of practice, we are making sure, and let's close out here. And I want you to continue to read this this portion on your PowerPoint slide. It was mandated to make sure lashing had a license because there was so many individuals operating unlawfully. Okay. And so many people there was a overwhelming number of people who were getting complaints that they were getting glue in their eye, they were getting poked by tweezers, so many things that they had to fight to get a license. And even though they had to have a license already, we did have to compromise with some professionals and say, hey, they only want to lash, so they shouldn't be able to have to go to aesthetic school. And then the courts also ruled that, hey, we need to get something for them. No, they don't have to go to aesthetic school. They don't have to be a cosmetologist, but they need something. That's how you got 300 hours. So the biggest component of being a lash tech is making sure you protect yourself and you protect the client. That is the biggest thing. When you get ready to go to State Board, Deanna, you're going to show that you know how to protect the client. The cape, drapes, gloves on your hand, sanitizing your hand, and also you have to apply 6 lashes. That's it. They don't have a care how what you do. They want to make sure you know how to protect yourself and protect the client. So they're grading you more. You get graded more on whether you got gloves on. You get graded more on whether you're sanitizing your hands. You get graded more on whether you're protecting the clients. You know what protecting the clients is? Draping the clients, protecting their clothes. Okay, so that's another reason why I will be in Nashville on the 8th to make sure whatever change is going to play, that I'm going to make sure I bring them back to my students for whatever course they're enrolled in. But that was the biggest thing as far as scope of practice, making sure that you know what you're doing and you know how to protect yourself. Let me give both of you guys an assignment. Let me give both of you guys an assignment. And I'm going to stop share. Okay. All right, everybody. So you should be able to see my screen. It is barberside.com. Okay. This is your first assignment. And actually, yeah, 2 things I need you to do. I'm going to take this website, copy it, put it in the chat. Okay. So when we talk about scope of practice and state board, this applies to everybody who's getting a clock hour in Tennessee. So for Andrea and Deanna, what I need you to do is go to barberside.com. You're going to go to Barberside Certifications. The first thing you're going to do is click Barberside Certification. This is due by Monday. Okay. Once you click Barberside Certification, click Get Certified. All right. You're going to make sure once you go through this certification, it's about 30 minutes, that when you get your certificate, you're going to send it to me. Okay. I'm going to put it in your file. This is one of the requirements for your hours. All right. That the state looks at to make sure you had Barberside certification. Tennessee matches with Barberside to make sure that they teach you about sanitation and infection control. That's one assignment. You're also going to go to Sheer Haven Domestic Violence Training. You're going to click here to begin training. It's also maybe about 30 minutes. They're going to give you a certificate. When it emails to you, email it to me. Okay? Guys, this is a part of Tennessee law. It's not a rule. It is a law. Okay? And until next year, we have to make sure that every student that comes in who applies for a license takes the barbicide certification and also the domestic violence certification. You may say, Ms. Claus, they don't have nothing to do with us. But yes, it does, because this is a high market of female or male clientele. The beauty industry, we touch and come in contact with a lot of people. So what they've done is mandated that we take the domestic violence training. So when we have these occurrences, come in contact with clients who need help, we're able to have a resource to forward to them. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. The Barbicide certification, you're going to go to barbicide.com and you're going to click both of these. You're going to do the Barbicide certification, complete it. It's going to send you the information. You'll also get like a discount, I think, on maybe some Barbicide items. But you need this certification because when we send all of your hours in, they're going to ask a question, have you completed this? And the school, when we have our inspection, they're going to look for this in your file, okay? My students are also, we have different rewards at school that once you complete this, we'll give you an award, okay? Like a treat. So we have to make sure everybody gets it because your license does depend on it. And it is a checkbox when you get ready for your state board exam. So you're going to take the Barbicide certification, and you're also going to take the Sure Haven domestic violence training certification. Okay. Everybody good? Everybody understand that for homework that's due Monday? Okay. Deanna, how long has it been since you did it? Deanna, I'm sorry.
Well, I just looked it up. I did it back in 2020.
Yeah, we need a current
An
one for
updated
our,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
But once you do it this time, and remember you're getting credit for it. Once you do it this time, one time is all it takes, and it goes in your file. Okay.
Okay.
Have you done this Sure Haven domestic violence training as well?
No, it was just the Barbicide.
Okay. Do the Barbicide and also do the Sure Haven. We'll get those two out the way, and we'll have them in your file. Okay. Andrea, you're good. You understand the homework for Monday?
Yeah, I get it.
All right, all right, all right. So what I'm actually going to do, Deanna, you came in just a little later. I'm going to email you those presentations for the course instead of just jumping back in on them. And I will be, what's tomorrow, Wednesday? Yeah. I'm going to email you the presentation of what you missed. And then, of course, it'll also be on recording. If you need me tomorrow as you go through it, just give me a call. I'm through with class at 2 p.m., okay? And we can have our one-on-one. Is that okay? Hello? Is Deanna still there? Not Deanna, Andrea?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to send you that immediately after class. And so look for it in about 5 minutes, you guys, okay?
Oh.
Okay. So we're going to close tonight. I was looking for Miss Brittany to come on. We'll be on Thursday night to finish tonight's class, and we'll start with manicuring on Thursday night since I intro to lashes tonight. We did cover a lot, so I do want you to go back and watch the video. It'll be available on YouTube in about an hour, okay?
Okay.
All right. Y'all have a blessed and amazing night.
You as
Until we meet Until we meet again, and remember, I'm available after class tomorrow at 2:00 if I need to answer any questions, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,